Welcome back to Norfolk News. I'm Grace Wolf.
And I'm Faith Sardu. Today we will be sharing with you the most important stories here at Norfolk.
Our top story is the impact of COVID-19 on the Norfolk schools. Reporter Liesl Schoenberg is here to fill you in.
Dr. Marr has worked here for 12 years and never would he imagine facing a pandemic as great as this. And with this sickness, what precautions are the school taking to prevent the spread of COVID-19?
The different misting products that we can use, or where they can go in and they mist the room and it sits for a little while and it kills all viruses, including the COVID virus. Obviously we have, wearing a face mask. We have the hand sanitizers everywhere for everyone to use, trying to remind people of social distance. Those are all the three big things right there that everyone can do. And then increased cleaning on top of that, even looking at some better filtration or filters for our air handling systems in buildings that they can help remove the virus as well.
Starting with the interruption in March, what kind of educational impact has this made on the Norfolk students?
Obviously, we went from seeing nobody from March all the way to, we finally got to see people again in June when we had baseball and softball, just at the high school level. So I would guess, the impact student, there was no senior trip. And graduation was done differently. So we've had to rethink how we've done things. Now, not all that's bad. There were some bad things that happened. We didn't have prom. We didn't have, some of the other things. But now we're back, and, the difference is we have to wear a mask. We're still trying to do things as much as normal as we can, but also putting precautions in place.
And if we go online, what are the concerns about the learning of the students, or like how safe they are at home and with their friends?
That's a big concern. Right now the community spread is terrible. When we're looking at, every day when I look at my list of who's quarantined, it's because something that's happened at home. We have so few that are quarantined because of something at school, and we're seeing that there's no spread of the virus here at school. It's all at home. So I have a huge concern when you go to online that students need to stay home. And then hopefully their parents aren't as active either and not bringing it to them, because right now what we're seeing is a parent gets it and then we have to quarantine students for 24 days. Mm-hmm. That's a killer for someone to have to stay home for 24 days and not be able to come back to school or see their friends. So it's going to be tough for everybody, really staying put. But we have to do it to get through this until that virus is available, which there's good news on that front at least.
Yes. And what are the financial impacts has this caused on the school budget?
Right now we haven't seen a tremendous amount because we still have received our state aid from the Department of Management and from the Department of Education, so that part of it. But this year it's buying more supplies. We're buying face masks, we're buying more chemicals for cleaning, those kind of things. So additional items for that would be where the increased costs.
While Dr. Marr deals with the logistics, Mr. Polberg has to deal with the discipline. It's been hard to manage the mask mandate.
Not really. Our kids have been great. Our students here are so good, and we had kind of anticipated that it would be a challenge, but it really, like I said, it hasn't been. It's been maybe some reminders here and there for most of our kids. I know our teachers have done a great job of that too, reminding students to, how to wear their mask properly, and it's been a good transition. Obviously a big change for everybody, right? For our staff teaching in masks and students talking in masks, and even like students in the play had to provide that performance via mask, and our athletes are wearing masks, and so it's been a huge challenge. But I've been really happy and pleased with the way our student body has positively responded.
Since the safety of our students is the first priority, do you think going online is the right option?
That's the school board's decision to make. I know that they have said, and I'm sure everybody here agrees, that what's best for our kids, we know in a normal situation and scenario, what's best for our kids is to have them on site, right? And learning from their teacher, with their teacher in their classrooms, whether it's, my kids that are in first grade or in preschool or our seniors in high school. But we know that the pandemic that we're in is, very serious, and safety concerns, as you alluded to, very important. And so, the school board has taken all those into account, and with the rising cases in Polk County, as well as within our zip codes that make up the school district, they're having us pilot 4 days of remote learning that we will start November 30th. So, teachers have been working really hard to prepare for that. I always say we're a brick and mortar school, so we're not an online school, so they've done a great job transitioning to that, and we'll see how those 4 days go. And I can promise one thing, our teachers are going to do the best job that they can, and we'll see how it goes and kind of reevaluate and go from there.
Will eating outside continue even when COVID decreases and maybe disappears?
Yeah, I think absolutely. I think that's been one of the positives of this whole situation, right? It's been great to see kids sit out here and have lunch and fellowship and enjoy being outside. And shoot, we even had kids out today, you know, what is it, November 19th, and there's kids outside. So I would love to see that continue, you know, in the spring, hopefully, and then next school year as well, if weather allows, to have that outdoor dining, if you will. So that's been really good, yeah.
While Mr. Polberg is known as the principal who let the students eat outside, Nurse Sarah works harder than ever to keep the students safe. So with this sickness, what precautions are you taking to prevent the spread of COVID-19?
Probably hand washing is the number one. And I've always tried to do that, but I'm very mindful, especially this year, every time I see a student, anytime I leave my office and come back in, I'm constantly hand washing and wearing a mask.
With you being the one doing the contact tracing, is that stressful?
It can be, only because you don't want to miss anybody. And then on the other hand, you don't want to add people that maybe didn't have that exposure. So, but I'm really lucky because I've got Mr. Polberg and Mr. Sinclair and people helping me out with that. And plus Polk County Health, you know, they're a good resource for us. So, but yeah.
How do you feel when someone comes in with a fever and symptoms of COVID-19, and what do you do?
Well, I'm very cautious this year, which has kind of changed my way of thinking because my goal has always been to keep students here unless they absolutely had to go home and weren't feeling good. So this year, essentially anytime somebody comes in with 2 or more symptoms, I'm sending them home. So fever is a big one, but a lot of kids don't have a fever, so even if you have something very minor, you could potentially have COVID. So just to be safe, I usually send them home.
And what challenges are you facing on a day-to-day basis?
What challenges? Just making sure we're getting enough communication out there to our own families, to the community. It's frustrating when you see students or staff come to school when they are ill and they know that they probably should be staying home. And I appreciate the fact that they want to be here, but it really just, it's not about you at this point. It's just trying to take care of everybody around us. So.
More locally, we have noticed a recent epidemic in the Norfolk schools, mullets. Reporter Angel Lindell will fill you in.
So how long have you had a mullet?
My first one I started sophomore year and it wasn't very good, cut it off. Junior year, that's when I got dedicated, and ever since probably March of my junior year I've had one.
Why did you want a mullet?
I wanted one at first for wrestling, and then slowly after wrestling I started realizing, like, wow, this is a lifestyle, this is just how it is.
How long did it take you to grow out your mullet?
To grow it to the longest I had it, which was like 9.5 inches this summer, it took me about a year and a half. Then I cut it and kind of shortened it up and restarted.
Do you think that your current hairstyle makes you more popular around the school?
I don't really think it makes me more popular. I just think it helps me stand out and let people know who I am and just be different.
Final question, what would you say to the other guys in our school who want a mullet?
I would say just do it, man. Like, you're going to get some hate, but there's nothing wrong with that. You just got to keep pushing through it and live it.
Would you consider your current hairstyle mullet or mullet-esque?
I don't know. Right now, it depends. Day to day. I mean, I would say more of a faux hawk.
A faux hawk. Did you originally intend for it to be a mullet, or did you ever want one? All right. So why did you want your style?
You know, honestly, a lot of kids were doing it. Maybe a couple of seniors I saw that their hair looked really good, and I was like, oh, maybe I would look good. So I tried to go for it. My hairstyle isn't like that, but I just tried.
Did you get somebody to do it professionally, or did you do it yourself?
Actually, my first couple haircuts I had my friend's haircut, or give me a haircut, and then that was not going good, and it looked all sloppy, so then I went and got it done.
All right. Would you keep this style long-term, or do you want to get like an actual mullet, or do you want to just be rid of it forever?
I'd keep it. I mean, mullet is just kind of been there forever, so it's just kind of a good thing to have in our generation, just to bring back stuff from 1900s, stuff like that.
Do you think that your current style makes you more popular?
Honestly, can tell ya, maybe might make me look a little bit more dumb, but I don't know.
What would you say to any other guy in our school, or maybe at another school, who wants a hairstyle like yours or some sort of mullet, something along those lines?
No, you just gotta go for it. I mean, you can't just hold back. I mean, you can't make a mullet look bad, so.
Now we will hear insight from Mr. Gopher.
Do you enjoy working at Norfolk?
Yeah, I do. It's when I first got here, we were quite a bit smaller. It was a 712 building, like a small town feel to the building. You knew every kid in the building through 6th grade, and obviously the teachers it's a pretty tight-knit group at the time. A lot of teachers have been there a long time, so that kind of drew me to it, and then I kind of through that, we've obviously changed as a district, but some of those principles we still hold on to, which is the part I enjoy.
Do you think that changes for the better, or did you like it when we were a smaller school?
Well, there's good and bad to both. So like from some standpoints of the smaller school, some of the stuff you're able to do from a standpoint of taking care of each other and that kind of thing is much easier. You get more corporate, for lack of a better word, as you get bigger. But you also have more things you can do at a bigger school too, because you have more employees. So before, it had been really hard for us to share a biology class, where now me and Mr. Dose can collaborate and share a biology class, where when I first started, it was 2 science teachers for the high school, and now we're at 4, so, which is quite a bit different. I shouldn't say 4, 5, 4.5 technically, so.
What class, since you teach like a ton of science classes, which class do you enjoy teaching the most?
That's a good question. They're different. I think that's the part I like, is that they're different. In some, it's the group that come with it. When I have biology, it's mostly freshmen and sophomores, and so it's a little different style of class. We have more kids come through. And then anatomy, phys I really enjoy, and part of that's because you're with groups that you usually have as juniors or seniors, so it's a little bit different mentality of the group. And then my 2 other ones I've taught so far, zoology and forensics, are more of an exploratory type of class, where I think kids are a little more excited about the topic itself, and you can do more stuff that's hands-on, and it's not as content-driven and more material-driven with those. So.
How would you describe your teaching style?
I would say my teaching style is relationship-based first, and content second. So to me, the thing I want to try to always accomplish is create a room that people aren't scared to talk, and it might be different. We might be off topic, we may be on topic, but just a general feeling and mentality of that concept allows us then to grow, where then as we go through, hopefully we can get into the content that subject's supposed to bring, but ultimately try to build that foundation of what the classroom environment's like first.
So how would you say that you keep your classes fun, yet still?
One, you try to draw the topics out. You know there's some stuff that's more fun to do, less fun to do, and you try to find that median, and obviously there's sometimes you have to do the grind of stuff too. But I think the second part is just people have to like doing and being with the group they're with. And I think students, students intentionally will go into classes where a kid that they know because they're friends with will go in. And it's the idea of, even though they might not be friends, to try to build that environment in that classroom where they like being around because they like that group of people they're with, and that environment's fun to be in. And then the rest of the education piece can kind of come along with it, which is the content of it. So.
How has your teaching changed this year because of COVID-19?
Not as much as I would have thought back in June. You're a little bit more conscious of how much moving and partnering and doing that stuff. You're probably doing less of that. You're much more conscious of trying to involve people that aren't in your room and having to spend some time with that. used more web-based stuff. This first time I've used web-based assessments. Before I was always just handwritten paper stuff, and so by far way less paper copies of stuff. But general teaching style, not a ton on that.
What is your most favorite part of Mr. Gopher's class?
Probably just like the labs and things. Those are really fun. We get to mess with different things. Like the egg lab was really fun when we get to put eggs in different like solutions and then see how it grows or shrinks.
What has been your most memorable or favorite part of the class so far?
Something that was really fun and that I'll probably remember for a long time was when we got water and then put it up under a microscope and like looked at cells and things like that. That was really cool.
What is your most favorite thing about Mr. Gopher?
I don't know. He's pretty fun. He likes to scare people and things like that. He's just a fun teacher.
What are some of the most favorite things you've learned so far in Mr. Gopher's class?
I've learned a lot about like cells and life and how life works and just things like that.
What kind of things do you think would be different about the class if it wasn't for COVID?
Definitely math, and I think we'd be have a lot more freedom to do like whatever you want with like labs and just learning and things like that.
What do you think about his teaching methods?
I think he has some really good teaching methods. He's fun, but he can also like be strict, and he has a good way of teaching and things like that.
Because of the pandemic, it has made it even harder for freshmen to adjust to the high school. Seniors give their best advice to the freshmen.
Some advice from a senior to a freshman would be to really care about your grades, like starting out freshman year, and it'll help you get into college. It'll help you like prepare for the workload, and like getting a higher GPA. It just helps everything all around. You don't have to worry as much.
One thing that I want the freshmen to know is that they should always focus on the positives and not the negatives, because it will only make things worse, especially during this time.
I encourage you to get involved into school activities.
Word of advice to freshmen, don't be afraid of the upperclassmen, like juniors and seniors. Most of them are really nice, and they're not going to like try and discourage you from doing anything. So yeah, we're your friends. Treat them like that.
Never take moments for granted, because it's gone before you know it.
My biggest piece of advice would be just to stop wishing the time away. Don't just keep wishing you're a sophomore or a junior or a senior, because then before you know it, it's gone and you just can't get that back.
Just make sure to do your homework. Don't take too many hard classes or too many easy classes in one semester. Mix it up a bit. Take about half hard, half easy.
Just live life to the fullest. Get as much out of your high school career as you can, because you only get 4 years of it. Go Comets.
Have a go Comet mentality.
On a lighter note, we are interested to see our new segment, Angel Attempts, where she's going to try new things and see how it goes.
First, Angel is going to attempt basketball with a few members of the girls' varsity team.
I'm Angel Lindell reporting from the Norfolk High School Gymnasium, where I just face off against 6 of the high school girls basketball varsity team members. Lucy Schaefer taught me how to do a layup, which I totally got first try. Then, having established that I was in fact a pro, we had a little 3v3 game with Sydney Anderson and Hannah Foster on my team, and Ashley Allen, Michaela Boatman, and Lucy Schaefer on the opposing side. It was a tough match, but because of my epic athletic prowess and a little help from my teammates, we took the win. They totally didn't let me have multiple tries on my layup, and that's the truth. Turns out that I am good at things. Come back next time if you want to see more of my annoying face. We might do cooking, or we might be at home. I couldn't tell ya.
Thank you for watching the first episode of this year's Norfolk News.
Remember to subscribe to receive our notifications for our future broadcasts. And lastly,